Well, good evening, or should I say good morning. For 1 week only, we are not coming live due to commitments this evening. So the Super League Raw team are up with the Larks this morning. A nice 8 o'clock start for us to bring you some fine entertainment on a Tuesday evening. Good evening, Greg. Good evening, Steph.
Good morning. Are you well?
Indeed. We'll keep saying good evening because people will get really confused and think that they've missed out on a live show in the morning. Do get involved in the chat. I have it on good authority that Mr. Sale will be in the chat this evening. So he'll be joining you in the chat as this is going out live. We do apologise, but hey, it is Easter after all. Right, let's get straight into it. Lots to get through. As always, coach of the month, team of the month, player of the month, whoa, as well as the usual features, of course. Let's look at round number 6, the rivals round, and what a round it was. Let's confirm the results. Tigers going down 26-6 against the Leeds Rhinos. The Robins 34, Hull FC 10, Saints 12, Warriors 4 in a feast of rugby league. The Wolves 24, Dragons 32, another great game, that one. The Red Devils beating the Leopards 32-22 at the Salford Community Stadium. And then the Broncos going down 26-6 to the Giants. Right, okay, let's get straight into it. Before we, can we start with the top game? I just have to, we didn't talk about this, I don't think, on the final whistle. Danny Richardson for Castleford. What was all that about? Crazy. 12-0 in the game, 61 minutes on the clock. What on earth?
Yeah, it was a bit of a brain explosion again from Danny there, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, very reminiscent of the Sneed one, but at least Salford were in good form. I mean, when you're 5 losses from 5, you don't need that from Danny, do you?
No. Sorry, Steph, go on.
No, I was just going to say it's one of those. You could see what he was trying to do, but to he put everything behind it, didn't he, to try and get it to bounce before. He was a little bit unlucky, but I suppose it epitomises Castleford season, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. They don't need. I mean, I like Richardson. I think actually it's a right bonus that he's back for Castleford. But was he trying too hard there, Greg, to be the superstar on his return?
I think he was trying to be too clever, maybe.
Yeah.
If it comes off, it's a great play.
Yeah.
I think as Steph said, he put everything behind it, and I think if I remember correctly, he might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it came off the outside of his boot as well. I think he wellied it, but he sliced it at the same time.
It wasn't pretty. It wasn't his best moment, was it? Bless him. Right, let's get into more interesting things, such as these wonderful people. The MVP, they're at it again. They're grabbing the headlines. Absolute shockers. Let's start off with the Wigan game. Nobody can argue with regards to for the cards for me. Burns going to tribunal. He's going to be out for your game, Steph. We'll talk about your game later. Dupree got a game ban, but not for the elbow. I'll just stoke the flames and throw the grenade for you. By all accounts, it was all because Matty Lees had lost his footing. If you read the notes from the match review panel, Greg, over to you, Mr. Dupree. What on earth is going on?
I have no idea. I've absolutely no idea. He was lucky not to get a red, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there were any mitigating circumstances at all. He's clearly led with his elbow, and he's hit him in the windpipe.
Yeah.
For me, I know Matty Lees has. I think he's got 2 games for it.
No, Lees has got a couple of games. Yeah.
I mean, he was lucky not to see red for the challenge. The challenge immediately before that Dupree tackle.
Oh no, that was Whitley. No, that was Whitley, mate, on Thompson. Oh, what a beauty that was. That was out the top draw from Matty.
It was Matty Lee's head clash with Thompson, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe, but Whitley was the one who hit him and hit him hard. It was a piece of brutal defence, that was.
Oh, yeah, but there's a head clash. And, first or second game of the season, Matty Lee sees red for that. And it wasn't even picked up in the game.
Well, who was it again? There was another one, wasn't there, a few weeks later? Catalan, wasn't it, that got done? Was it on Saturday? Ashworth. Ashworth got done against Saturday, didn't he?
Yeah, but Dupree was very, very lucky to get away with a yellow card, as far as I'm concerned.
Beggars
the for that incident is, I don't know.
I think actually though, it's an important point you mentioned about the tackle before. I think that's what it was. I actually don't. I think in a rugby match it gets heated. That was a massive hit on Thompson, and then the very next play, I think Dupree's a little bit aggrieved by it and decides, right, I'm going to give you a bit back, but he gets it completely wrong, Steph, doesn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if you flip it round, given how big they are on head contact and stuff from a defender point of view, it's direct contact to the head. He could have caused concussion. He could have been whatever. So if you flip it around, you're getting a 3-game ban. For a similar offence. So I don't know why it's different when an attacker does it on a defender.
Exactly.
I mean, Greg mentioned about it. Actually, it's a straight. It's not straight in. It rides up, and for me, that makes it worse because actually he puts force on it. He really jars his net back, and that area. You can have serious implications.
I remember in the women's news, the State of Origin women's game, Isabel Kelly, they thought she'd broken a windpipe.
Yeah.
She was in intensive care for a few days.
Gregory, I'll tell you what, we'll have to start recording these in the morning earlier. Knowledge from the Nixon. Outstanding stuff. Right, speaking of HIAs, gentlemen, here's one for you. Bentley, Percival. Should we be concerned? Bentley's gone down a couple of times already this season with HIA. We know Percival has had a few in his career. But Bentley especially, did Percival have one earlier in the season or was it an injury with Percival? I can't remember.
I think he got a ban, didn't he?
The ban, wasn't it? But this is the second HIA for Bentley this year. That's got to be a concern for Bentley as well as for Leeds.
Definitely. Am I right in saying as well it was his gum shield that triggered it? Is that the one?
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on at the moment, isn't there? That's why we're seeing so many HIAs because the gum shield is telling them to be assessed. And I mean, it's quite interesting because quite a lot actually, when you consider how many HIAs are being had, quite a lot are actually finding their way back on the field, even with the new technology, which is good to see. But yeah, from a Bentley perspective, obviously Lachlan Coote, we know Lachlan Coote in his career had major issues with HIAs, but Bentley won't be playing this week, but based on the fact that he's had 2 in 6 rounds, 7 if you include the Challenge Cup, should he have a more sustained layoff, do you think, for his own safety and well-being?
I think it points back to a point I made earlier in the season about, when we were going a bit mental with the cards and everything like that. And actually I was saying it's more defenders who get head injuries than from foul play. Yeah. So this is why I thought the rules were a bit daft. And I mean, I don't know what you can do to protect the defender, but I think at a minimum he should be wearing a skull cap, Bentley, based on the.
He is now, isn't he? He is. Yeah, and even that's not saved him because he was wearing a skull cap, Steph.
Was he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So
must have had too many brew dogs for that one.
Well, yeah, but no, I mean, like I say, genuinely, I'm only saying that because your player welfare is important.
Look at Tom Johnston as well. Tom Johnston was a perfect
exactly. Yeah.
He was out every other week with the HIA. It seemed a couple.
He's woke up, hasn't he? He's woke up 3 tries in 2 games. Tom, after a really slow start to the season, nice to see that he saved it for the HJ. Right, let's get into this one. Let's have a little chat about this. Jake Connor debate. For better or worse, are Huddersfield Giants better without Jake Connor, Greg?
It would appear so at this moment in time. I think it's probably a case of where do you play? I don't think they've quite, maybe, I don't know, you might correct me if you think I'm wrong. I don't think quite worked out where his best position for the Giants is yet, perhaps.
That's got to be a concern, hasn't it? I mean, Jake Connor, when he come back to Huddersfield, I don't know what Huddersfield fans thought, but to the outer world, people are thinking, good signing that. Last year, we felt they had too many bags of riches in one go. But actually, even Matt, you saw Masters. Masters didn't look out of place at fullback, did he?
No. Where do you slot him in? Where do you slot Connor in?
I thought Masters had a great game at fullback. I really did. I thought he was superb. It is one of those. He's never found his position since he's been there for me, Connor.
No.
But you think Clune's not going anywhere? No. Clune's number 7. That's done.
Lola.
Let's be absolutely crystal clear. Lola Haya has had a brilliant match. 4 assists in this one. You can have the old argument that it's against London, but at the end of the day, you can only beat what's in front of you. Lola Haya had a storming game, so he's undroppable. Masters looked very good in defence. So Connor would love to go back to the MKM this week against his former side, but I just don't bench at best, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, I think they played well. I don't think they were superb against London by any means, but I think they played well. I suppose the other thing is they could put Masters back to centre, which is his preferred position, isn't it, and put Connor at fullback. But be interested to see what the Huddersfield fans think of that one in the comments.
But it would. Yeah, and make sure you chat to him, Steph, as well.
Oh,
But I mean, this is it. We're trying to accommodate him. I mean, a player like Jake Connor, and we're talking about accommodating him in the team. And in terms of team spirit and the standards that you set as a coach, once you start doing that, players should play based on the way they're playing. I mean, certain players like George Williams at Warrington, he has to come back in. There's no argument about that. But because of the way Connor's been playing since going back to Huddersfield, had he been a superstar, he's straight back in. But he hasn't been. So for me, he's got to sit and wait his time like any other player.
He is the type. He's quite volatile, isn't he? In terms of, I could see him getting very, very disgruntled if he isn't getting straight back in the side. So it'd be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks on that one.
Yeah, and he's had a few clubs now, hasn't he, to try and kind of cement himself as the superstar he could be. And for some reason, he's not kind of fulfilled his potential, I think.
Yeah.
By all accounts, he's very good at nominating a good bed and breakfast around the country. He's our Jake. But what we would say, let's move on. Before we move on and leave round six at round six, we have to have a quick chat about Wigan Saints. Greg, you haven't had the opportunity. You weren't on the Final Whistle podcast. Greg, what a game.
Oh, superb.
Superb
game. NRL-esque, I think, that game for defences.
Yeah.
Kind of, it was a red card that kind of swung it, unfortunately. A deserved red card. You can't argue with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a shame that a red card is kind of swung it. I'd like to have seen 13 aside. I think, I got the feeling Wigan might have just sneaked that one with 13 players on the pitch. But yeah, what a game. The defence was ferocious.
What I liked about it, mate, and Steph, I'm sure you'd agree, is that there weren't many tries, but the three were quality tries. Yeah. I mean, the first one, Bevan French, simply world class.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we said on the Final Whistle podcast, there's no one else scoring that try in Super League. It was absolute quality, and then we had Tommy Makinson leaping like a salmon, which it's always beautiful to see.
Before we go to the wonderful pitching wedge of Lewis Dodd to a very leaping gazelle, Tommy Makinson, Greg, we have to pay tribute to big Alex Walmsley. What a run!
Yes, it was. I don't know how Alex Walmsley didn't get player of the match, to be quite honest with you.
Don't, mate. Don't.
But yeah, if only you could learn to play the ball correctly, he'd be a great player, big Alex Walmsley.
So we compliment him in one hand and then we give him
give him one hand, take with the other.
You've been learning off Reece Martin.
Let me get your take on this. I think I mentioned it to the lads on the Final Whistle. Is Walmsley overlooked because he's so consistent, which is not fair?
Yeah.
But when you compare and contrast Leigh's and Walmsley, mate, because you might not know this, Leigh's carried the ball 8 times for 45 metres. Walmsley had his hands on the ball 17 times for 132.
Yeah.
7 tackle busts to 1 in Walmsley's favour. Yeah. You could argue, even though it went through quite a few hands to get to Dodd, if Walmsley doesn't make that run, quite well, simply, do Saints win the game? Because that, for me, that run changed the game.
It rocked, yeah. That run, Wigan weren't expecting it.
No,
I thought Walmsley should have got player of the match. I must admit, and yeah, he's Mr. Consistency. He very, very rarely makes a mistake with ball in hand.
Yeah,
and you could be right. There are, they always seem to be looking for the spectacular rather than the proper rugby league skills on show. And I think, if Wigan had won that, they'd have probably given it to Bevan French, player of the game. player of the match.
Well, I tell you, who deserves a lot of credit, mate. Is Brad O'Neill. His defensive effort was quite simply exceptional. 54 tackles in the game, Brad O'Neill. In a game like that where defence wins games, and actually he wasn't alone. I mean, again, I mentioned this on In the Sheds, but we haven't discussed it as a unit. O'Neill 54 tackles. Ellis made 47. Farrell made 42. They were the top three for Wigan. For Saints, 36 tackles by Morgan Knowles. 34 tackles by Whitley, and both Sirenan and Lee's made 33. I mean, that's proper showing up for your team now. That's proper numbers they are.
And Morgan Knowles, we've criticised him in the past, but this season he's been exceptional. And I think proving more and more week on week that he is going to be probably Alex Swarms' replacement in the front row.
Yeah.
At some point. He's a prop all day long.
Absolutely fantastic. Just for your diaries, ladies and gentlemen, of course, the DW have many more seats than the Totally Wicked. I might actually go to that one, when it's the return game. Friday, July the 12th. Get it in your diary. As a neutral, I might just go and experience that. And then we're all invited to the third game because it's Magic Weekend. Oh, yes, we'll be there for that one. Cannot wait to watch St. Helens against Wigan. I think that's the Saturday before the Warrington Leeds game, so that should be an absolute beast of rugby league. I mean, all this talk about Magic, how can you not go to Magic with fare like that on show? They might even have a good sausage roll, Greg. Anyway, we move on.
I do hope so.
Well, let's hope so. Super League Royal membership open. You've seen that on the screen now for quite a while. Right, gentlemen, we now get to a very serious point in the programme. Who is going to be the Super League Raw Coach of the Month? It's been a very interesting March in the fact that not a single team, and this is good for the comp, not a single team has won all four, which I think is brilliant because it just goes to show what a vibrant competition we've got.
I think he does, yeah. The positions at the top are swapping around a little bit as well as we go through the last few weeks, which is good.
Yeah,
it's great. It's great that we're finally getting better. And for the bottom four, it's not so great, but
no,
at the top end, there's a lot of competition going on. It's getting more and more competitive.
Absolutely.
And, teams are capable on the day. All those teams in that top 6, 7, or 8 are capable of beating each other, I think.
Yeah, Steph.
No, I completely agree. It's great to see. I think it's very, very competitive this season. Apart from the bottom 3 clubs, I think anyone can pretty much beat anyone on the day. I think they're going to be taking points of each other. But no, it's great that it looks like we're going to get a proper competition this year.
Let's hope so. Right then, boys. So quite a few getting the 3 from 4. Wellens, Pete, Rowley, Burgess, Rowan Smith, another one, McNamara. So quite a lot of contenders in terms of 3 from 4. Before I put it on the screen, if you had a choice, Greg, who would you give it to?
Totally unbiased. I give it to Sam Burgess.
You give it to Sam Burgess, totally unbiased. I love you. Steph?
Well, I think, like you said, there's a number you could choose this month, which is fantastic. I think Burgess deserves a lot of credit in dispatches for my choice. He was right up there. McNamara, obviously, what he's doing at Catalan, Matty Pete, Wellens, but I would give it to Rowley just based on the squad he's got and what he's done so far this season.
Well, in the month of March, it is going to be Paul Rowley spot on, Steph, and that's because, let's be honest, look at his run of games, ladies and gentlemen. Look at the run of games that Salford had in the month of March. They had Hull KR, St. Helens, Wigan and Leigh. All of those 4 teams finished above Salford in the 2023 season. Salford have been, let's be fair, pillaged with players since then. They had a stronger roster last year than this. If everybody were being kind, they'd have probably said if they got 4 points out of that, they've done really well. Many would have thought they might pick up 1 win. He's picked up 3. And that is phenomenal. The KR performance, 17-10, brilliant from Sneed. The St. Helens away, quite a fantastic performance, that one. Let's be absolutely honest. They should have beat Wigan. They threw that one away, if we're being honest. And then, of course, taking Leigh down 32-22. And when you consider, they've got a good record against Leigh. It must sting you that a little bit, Steph, to be fair. They have had a good record against you over the last 2 years of Salford.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Paul Rowley, I think, nobody can argue with that. Many congratulations to Paul, would you say? Greg, are you convinced it's now Rowley, not Rowley?
Yeah, I was. My tongue was firmly in cheek. Yeah, Paul Rowley deserves it for the reasons I said and the reasons you gave. They should have beat Wigan. That should have been 4 out of 4.
Yeah, should have, mate. Should have.
Sneed will be kicking himself because he can kick himself better than he can kick a drop goal. But
I thought his drop goal against KR was decent.
Yeah, a drop out, I meant, not a drop goal. But yeah, tongue firmly out of cheek, Paul Rowley all day long.
Right, we move on at pace. Everybody's in agreement for Paul Rowley. Do you agree in the chat? I think you probably do. Well done to Paul Rowley and the work he's done at the Salford Red Devils. Breath of fresh air in the month of March and fully deserving of that accolade. Right, it's now time for the team of the month. Now, before this comes up, because I know Steph might look at this and go, oh, hang on. No. Let's go over the rules again here, right? So to be in the Super League Raw team of the month, you must have played all 4 games. You have to have played all 4 matches. Simple as that. If you haven't played all 4, you're not in.
I know where you're going.
I know I am. I'm just teeing you up before. This is about consistency. It's about playing in all 4. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the Super League Raw team of the month for the month of March. He says. She'll put it back up for you. There it is. Duffy at full-back on the wings. Adam Swift. There's one for you. Adam Swift has scored in every game. That's consistent for you, isn't it? Tim Lafai, Peter Hiku in the centres. Matty Ashton on the wing. Croft in at standoff. That was basically because of positional play. The people out there who would talk about Dodd, they talk about Abdul, but Croft played standoff. And he has had a really good match as well. So Brodie Croft, he gets the standoff position. Scum half Mark Sneed. Up front, Thompson has been sensational through the month of March. Alex Walmsley as well has been growing week on week. And of course, the cherry on top of him was the game at the weekend. Brad O'Neill, the hookers, interesting, the hookers. Not an awful lot between the hookers in Super League this season. Not many of them really setting the world on fire in March. A little bit patchy in play. Brad O'Neill has been very consistent, especially in defence. And that's why he gets that one. Reece Martin, again, Mr. Consistency. Obviously, great with the boot as well. So he's in there. Kalepi Tangi Noah for Hull KR has had a sensational March. There he is, Greg. There he is, Mr. Morgan Knowles. He's our loose forward. That's a first. Well done, Morgan. And fully deserved. Knowles is a brand new player this season. Here's one for you. He's averaging around about 107 metres a game. When you compare last year, he was averaging anywhere between 70 and 80 a game. That just goes to show the difference in his attack this year. We know he's a brutal defender, Morgan Knowles, but he's really got his running game going this season. And then, of course, new for this season, the interchange band, Essen Masters. How can we overlook Masters? He's been absolutely brilliant, no matter which position he's played. Tries, assists, meters. He's been incredible. Vaughan, again, very, very consistent. Just pipped by Walmsley and Thompson. That was a close one. Jez Litton, yet again, remains. I think he's one of the only ones that actually I think he's the only one that's remained in the 2 teams, I think, which is interesting. And Leroy Cudjoe, again, Cudjoe for the Giants in the month of March. Again, might not have been in the winning team every week, but his meters, his defence, his versatility, you'd love to have him on the bench in the month of March based on his performance. Right, gentlemen, over to you. Your thoughts on our team in the month of March? Who's going first? Go on, Steph.
Yeah, well, I think it's really interesting how Vaughan's on the interchange bench. That just highlights how good Walmsley and Thompson have been this month to keep Paul Vaughan off the starting side. Completely agree with Brad O'Neill. I think obviously he's starting now rather than last year. Was he off the bench, Brad O'Neill?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's really stepped up to the plate for Wigan. Some outstanding performances from him. Mark Sneed is obviously, he's had man of the match in every game, I think, hasn't he? Pretty much, which Salford's been involved in. So, and great to see Masters. I'm becoming based on my comments earlier, I'm a real big fan of Masters. I thought he was great when I saw him in the flesh. So great to see him getting there, and obviously Leroy Cudjoe as well for the Huddersfield Giants has been, a revelation. Given he's coming towards the twilight of his career, I think he's been outstanding.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is the thing about Super League Raw, is the fact that, we look at all the stats, we look at all the detail. We also obviously use our eyes as well. I don't think 3 Huddersfield Giants players are going to be in any team of the month that is in any other publication. But the facts are the facts. No. The facts are the facts. Adam Swift, surely it's got to be 1, you play every game, 2, it's consistent. He's scored in every game. I mean, that is absolutely exceptional, Greg.
Yeah, and look at Hiku as well. He's moved from full back to centre, and he's a centre all day long.
Yeah.
And he's starting to fulfil his potential. The player we saw at Warrington for a few games a few years ago. He's not a fullback.
No.
Whether he thinks he is on, he's just not a fullback. Leroy echo what Steph says about Cudjoe having a new lease of life at loose forward.
Yeah.
Croft is just starting. I think Croft is now starting to get his game together again after the move to Leeds.
Yeah, he's had a solid month, mate.
Yeah. So the one for me there is Hiku. He took a few pelters early doors, and the move to centre can only benefit him and OKR, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, obviously I won't be able to see what you're saying, but one of those players will be the player of the month for March. It will be announced later on in the show. Get in the chat. It has to be one of the 1 to 13, not one on the interchange bench. 1 to 13, because they are the best in their positions. Yes, we've got an interchange bench, but they have been kept out the starting lineup by the 1 to 13. So one of the 1 to 13 will be given the Super League Raw player of the month for March. Who would you give it to? Get in the chat. Have a bit of a giggle with regards to that. And we will announce that a little bit later in the show, he says. There you go. Fantastic. Right. Okay. We're now going to have a little laugh before we move on at the old Albert Goldthorpe. Right. I mean, this is going to become its own section. The Albert Goldthorpe. We're not going to go through them all. We haven't got the time. I've just picked out a couple of headlines for you. First things first. We're going to go to Hull KR. Hull KR takes on Hull FC. Super League Raw, 3 points goes to Niall Levels, 2 points goes to Joe Burgess, and 1 point goes to Petter Hiku. Over to the Albert Goldthorpe. 3 points to Tyrone May. I mean, you just couldn't have believe it, could you? I mean, come on. Let's all have a laugh. Hey, shocking. Did anybody see Tyrone May as man of the... And here's the laughable thing, right? 19 carries, 52 metres, right? He had 2 attacking kicks in the game. I mean, you compare that to Lewis. Lewis had 6. Yeah. He had 3 kicks in general play. Lewis had 9. And Mikey Lewis wasn't in the top 3.
No.
Like, what? Again, I'm sorry. What game are these people watching?
I think the thing with this one is, regardless of what you thought of Tyrone May, how he played, look at how good Evels was in this game.
Yeah.
He was absolutely outstanding, and he has been since he's moved to fullback, to be fair. How you can watch that game and not give anybody else apart from him the 3 points is just beyond me, and it's just crazy. And I'd love to know what the reason is behind it. They're obviously trying to get players to be up there. I can't see another reason.
I think the problem is really the hospitality because it's about detail. You know, these type of awards should be about detail. How can you put? I mean, let's compare and contrast before Reggie comes in, May and Evels, because we'd all agree Evels was man of the match.
Yeah,
Player street, right? So Evels in this game, a try, which was very nicely taken, an assist that was very nicely played. He didn't have a single error at fullback. He ran the ball for 199 metres from 25 carries. He was unplayable. I've already told you what May's stats were.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, his first half, he was outstanding. If he'd have taken him off after 40, he'd have still got player of the match.
Yeah.
These are journalists. Correct me if I'm wrong. These are journalists, aren't they, that are doing the Albert Goldthorpe?
Yeah, correct.
They're obviously they're obviously this good hospitality at these rugby grounds for
Has to be.
journalists. That has to be, because they're missing a great game if they're choosing these people. I mean, Tyrone May had let's not get carried away. Tyrone May had a decent game.
He did nothing wrong, but he weren't spectacular.
He wasn't the standout player. He wasn't even in the, as you say, Mickey Lewis outperformed him. You know, it's. Are they doing it? I think they're doing it to be deliberately controversial. I don't know.
I don't. Well, all I know is it's not just the three that we picked, but he was behind Hadley, Dean Hadley again. 14 carries, 105 metres. Tanginoa, 12 carries, 103 metres. There was players that, I mean, for me, he's probably at least 7th or 8th in the list of OKR players, and he's got 3 points. It's an absolute sham. They did give 2 to Evels, and they gave 1 to Minchella. Now, I don't mind the Minchella one. Because I do think the top 3 were Evels, Hiku, and Burgess. I mean, Burgess, 2 tries, 1 assist. And what I liked about Burgess was his unselfishness for the Hiku try. He could have gone himself, and he played the team game. He ran 22 times for 189 metres. So for me, for not only his tries, but for the assist and his team ethic, this is a player who wasn't wanted for whatever reason by Salford, and he played a great game at the weekend.
Yeah,
absolutely. He did.
And I think May's been probably one of the most disappointing signings for me this season. Because he should have been that good, and he's not. He's kind of flattered to deceive. Whereas Burgess, everyone was going, look, that's a bit of an average signing maybe, and then he's been miles better for me.
Well, I mean, just to let you know, Tyrone May. Use your eyes, gentlemen. Tyrone May is currently joint 2nd in the Albert Goldthorpe this season. That means
there's an agenda there, then, isn't there?
He's above Matt Duffy. He's above Ash Handley. He's above Lockie Miller. He's above Matt Whitley. He's above Paul Vaughan, Mikey Lewis. Darryl Clark. The list goes on. It's like, on what planet? Is Tyrone May, after 6 rounds, joint 2nd in any league table?
There's clearly some sort of agenda then.
Answers on a postcard. Right, okay, then we'll have another little giggle. Just one more game to go to. It's the Leeds-Castleford game. So 3 points. I couldn't not. I mean, they actually watched this game because Miller did get the 3 points. So happy days. However, they get, and again, don't get me wrong, Westerman, on a losing side, you can't fault his effort. But Westerman, 2 points. They gave Westerman 2. I agree with the 1. We gave 1 to Lazzoni as well. I thought Sam Lazzoni, just for the 2 drives alone. Again, you talk about players who turned a game. His drive after 30 minutes and his drive at that second half just said to the Leeds Rhinos players, right, come on, lads, let's get this one. And they never looked back from there. But for me, Westerman over Croft, I'm not so sure about that.
No,
that was Croft's best for me. From what I've seen of Leeds with Croft, that was his best performance in a Leeds shirt for me.
Yeah.
I think, like you rightly say with Lassoni, it was 0-0 when he came on. I think, it was 0-0 at half time, wasn't it?
It was,
yeah. And he actually, I thought, changed the game for Leeds. They just give him that go forward and that bit of confidence, and then they looked like a different team after he came on. So he was fully deserved of the 1 point.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. Right, we now come to the part of the show that Greg loves the most. It's that moment yet again where we do the team of the week for round number 6. Here it comes in all of its glory. Enjoy. Our team of the week is proudly sponsored by the Good Estate Agent. Join the rugby league community in trusting Stefan and his team when you are buying, letting, or selling property. It's the Super League Raw Team of the Week for round number 6 with the Good Estate Agent for 2024. Here we go again at fullback, and on debut is Lockie Miller of the Leeds Rhinos. Another strong performance from the Union convert. Forget your Miller Lite, as Lockie is 100% proof. At 2 is Joe Burgess of Hull KR. Whilst he may not have the technical of Dreamco, the Hull FC line was breaking and the Robins were waiting for Joe to make their dreams come true. In centre is Jake Bibby of the Huddersfield Giants. Watson has hinted that Bibby may may be going out on loan, but Jake has not spat his dummy or dribbled on his bib, but he's crawling up the pecking order at the Giants. Partnering him in centre is Petter Hiku. Since returning to centre, Hiku is once again showing why he's perhaps one of the best centres in the division. Simply superb. On the wing is Tom Johnston of the Catalan Dragons. As it's Easter, Matt Duffy decided to gift wrap an egg for Johnson to devour for a simple first try. After a slow start, it's now 3 tries in 2 games for last year's try-scoring machine. At standoff is once again Jordan Abdul, a kicking masterclass that even Mr. Miyagi would be proud of. He was up, down, side to side with the Dragon supporters waxing lyrical. Bonsai at 7 is a man who had an incredible March, Mr. Mark Sneed. Yet again he controlled the game throughout with ball in hand and off the boot. 30 from 30 now for Sneed. Can he achieve what Stephen Ratford could not? At 8 and back for his second selection of the season is Big Alex Walmsley. The makers of Fairy Liquid, they're on the phone, as who would have thought a man this big would have hands so soft? I bet he does the dishes. At 9, also for the second time this season, is Brad O'Neill. His defensive display was worthy of a man of the match performance had it not been for Walmsley. Defence wins games, and with Brad on this form, Wigan will strike back very soon. At 10 is Sam Lazzone of the Leeds Rhinos. He came in like a wrecking ball. The Tigers closed their eyes and swung. He left them crashing in a blazing fall. Go on, Sammy! At 11 is Kalepi Tanginoa. He continues to average a try in every 3 games, and like Hubble, he's devastated from 15 metres out. A shrewd acquisition from Willie Peters. This one, Kalepi, is as solid as they come. At 12 is Reece Martin, or as Steph Sale would say, go Reece Martin, you're burning up the jungle mile. He was yet again supreme, and the chicks laid some lovely cream. Eggs, that is for Reece Martin. Go, go, do-do-do-do-do. And finally, he is back. It's Morgan Knowles. He continues to impress in 2024 with stats that are his best for seasons. These are outstanding numbers from him this year, averaging 107 metres per game, up 32 metres on 2023. Quality Morgan. This is your tip of the week for round number 6. So there you go, the team of the week for round number 6 in our mix. Simon, I've not done the top performance from round number 6. We'll have to do that in a moment. Hey, who says simply raw isn't raw? Anyway, here we go. There is the team of the week. Greg, over to you, sir. Did you enjoy that one?
I'm still reeling for Grease Lightning.
Yeah, that was for Mr. Sale. That was in the WhatsApp chat. Next time Reece Martin's in team of the week, I've got to do a bit of Reece Lightning for our step.
Absolutely.
I thought the Walmsley Fairy Liquid one was a good one as well, I have to say.
Oh, lost.
Happy days.
No, I think that's a decent team, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Miller just keeping Dufty out.
And Evels was the big one.
And Evels as well.
Evels was the one. It was between him and Evels.
Yeah, I think Sneed has been consistent over the month,
yeah,
and over the week. So, I think Dufty probably made a couple of errors, didn't he, against Catalan? But yeah, no arguments at all with that team of the week, sir.
Steph?
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I think Lockie Miller's been a revelation, coming from rugby union to league. He's transitioned really, really well, and I'm excited to see how he goes as we get into more dry tracks as well. I think he's just going to get better and better. And good to see Knowles in there again as well. He's copped a lot of stick on this program, and it's great to see, from his side of things that his game's improving. And what can you say about Sneed? He's just been outstanding, hasn't he? Week on week, he's the informed player for me. He's goal kicking as well, which is he's on for 30 out of 30, is it? No?
Yeah. I saw a different report saying it's 31 from 31. It's either 30 or 31 from 31, but he's on track for it again. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think going back to the Tyrone May conversation, just to curveball it a little bit. Look at how good Abdul's been for Catalan. I know he's enjoying the steak and red wine over there, but good grief, he's played well, hasn't he? He's been absolutely outstanding. And I think if you're a Hull KR fan, it'd be really interesting in the comments to hear what you think about that, because for me, I would rather have Abdul than May
at this moment in time. Definitely.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. And I think, again, unlucky. I mean, I can't believe it, but a man who scores a hat-trick isn't on the wings. But I think the all-round performances of Johnston and Burgess just shade it. I mean, really, 2 tries, 2 assists for Johnson. Burgess, 2 tries and an assist and running meters galore. It was close, but unlucky, Ash Hanley, I would say. Evels unlucky, Hanley unlucky without doubt. There'll be a lot of people who'll be, going on about Bibby, being in there. And again, all right, Jake Bibby might not be a glamour player, but bottom line is this is a guy who's being shipped out, being touted around for loans. He's come in, scored a lovely try, put a really good shift in the centres, completely deserving.
Yeah, I agree.
It was really to him. It was really interesting with the Bibby try. They actually gave it to Swift on BBC Sport, and one of my horrendous bets actually went in my favour, that one, even though the rest of the people didn't get the memo. Quite funny, that one.
Joe Philbin and Matty Ashton think they're in fancy dress this week. Anyway, that's another story. Right, we have forgotten, and my apologies, I'm a bit out of sync here. We have forgotten to do the top performers, and it's only right that we give the top performers of round 6 their moment in the sun. So here are the top performers from round number 6.
Here are your top performers from round number 6 in the Betfred Super League. And standing alone as the top try scorer is Umila Hanley of the Leigh Leopards with a hat-trick against the Salford Red Devils. The most try assists this week came from Tui Lulahea of Huddersfield Giants with 4 against the Broncos. Peter Hiku got 3 against FC. The top meter maker was Ash Hanley of the Leeds Rhinos with 211. Now Levels got 199, Joe Burgess 189 and Lockie Miller 180. The top tackle buster was Lockie Miller of Leeds Rhinos with 11, Arthur Romano and Herman SASA each with 8. The most clean breaks came from Joe Burgess of Hull KR, followed by Nye Levels with 3, also of Hull KR. The most offloads came from Oliver Partington for the Salford Red Devils with 6, Sam Wood got 5 for the Tigers. The top hard meter maker was Alex Miller with 166 for the Tigers. He was followed by Joe Westerman and Lachlan Fitzgibbon with 136. Sam Lizzone got 133. The top tackler for the second week in a row was Brad O'Neill of the Wigan Warriors with 54. His teammate Caird Ellis got 47. Will Lavelle got 43 for the Broncos. And Liam Farrell got 42 for the Warriors. And finally, the top goal kicker was once again Mark Sneed, a perfect 6 from 6. Reece Martin got 5. Jordan Abdul got 4, as did Josh Fulis. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your top performers from round number 6 in the Betfred Super League.
So round number 6 now, put to bed. There you top performers. Good to see. I mean, again, those tackling stats, 3 Wigan Warriors players in the top 4 tacklers. I mean, it just goes to show how brutal that game was.
Did anybody else make any tackles in the Wigan team?
What's that, mate?
Did any other Wigan players make any tackles in that game? Because it looks like they've done the majority of them.
Incredible, mate. Absolutely incredible.
And when you watch that game as well, it was so even all the way through the stats.
Phenomenal, mate.
The tackling, I think the tackling was Wigan most tackles first half, or Saints most tackles first half, and then Saints second half. It was just a
feast of rugby league, I think is what they call it, sir. A feast of rugby league. Right, this is the Super League Raw Fantasy League, and yet again, Mr. Ryan Birch remains top, but look at Tony Pennington. Oh, 708 this week for Tony. He's catching. There's not an awful lot there. Steve Bowley is the leading non-member, a Leopards fan as well. He's leading the charge for the replica shirt. Is Stephen. Just outside the top 5 is Victoria Gray, another Super League Raw member. So Tony and Ryan, don't worry, just outside that top 5 there's people in hot pursuit of you. Don't worry about that. But that's how the Fantasy League looks this week. Right, let's start looking ahead now to the week to come. First and foremost, this is the league table. The Saints now at the top with 10. Also the Dragons, they collide. We'll be discussing that in a few moments' time. Then it's the Wolves, Warriors, Robins, Rhinos and the Red Devils all on 8. Couldn't be tighter there. And of course, at the bottom, still with no points, is the Tigers and the Broncos. That is basically where we're at. Let's take a look at the prediction lead, and it gives me no pleasure at all to show you this one. Gary Schofield got 5 perfect, 5 out of 6 spot on last week, and he races back to the top of the charts with 104, overtaking myself. Myself and Joel now level on 98 apiece. Steph up to 92, Greg 91. The Fans Forum having an absolute shocker this year. Who'd have thought 2 years ago the Fans Forum took the glory? Right, now we go forward to round number 7. This is how it's all going to pan out this weekend. The Leopards go up against the Warriors. The Robins take on the Broncos. Castleford Tigers welcome the Salford Red Devils. The Rhinos and the Wolves go head-to-head. FC welcome the Huddersfield Giants. And the Dragons take on the Saints. That is where we are. Let's start off with a big one on Thursday. This is it. It's Leigh Leopards taking on the Wigan Warriors, last year's grand final winners and League Leaders Shield winners, going up against the Challenge Cup holders and, of course, the team that finished 5th last year. They faced each other 3 times last year, and all 3 went the way of the Warriors, with the exception of round 27. That was a really, really close game. Remember the controversy in round number 27? There was a lot of that in that game. Go back and check out the highlights if you've forgotten. Oh, there was loads of good stuff in that game in terms of dodgy calls. But Wigan won it 10 points to 6. As you can see, Wigan 4th at the moment, Leigh and 9th. 13-5, the Leopards. 3-10 on are the Warriors. As you can see, Leigh there, not in the greatest of form. Wigan having lost against Saints in their last game. I picked out players to watch. Matt Moylan, I'm sure Steph will talk about him in a moment. Matt Moylan at the moment, he's growing week on week. He's becoming a real quality acquisition there for the Leigh Leopards. And I picked out Jai Field, not because he's in great form, but at some point he's got to wake up, because at the moment we haven't seen it. Is this the game that Jai Field wakes up? Now, Ricky Latelli and Frankie Holton should return, we're hoping, for Leigh. No new injury concerns, Steph. I'll be interested to know if that is the case or not. And Wigan as well, no new injury concerns, but of course Byrne and Dupree will be out of this game. As always, I'll come to you last because it's your team. Greg, I'll come to you. Leigh Leopards, Wigan. Both are missing some big forwards. That is a level of that Byrne and Dupree in that front row is not going to be there.
It'll certainly make things interesting.
Yeah.
I still think Wigan will have too much. Unfortunately, sorry, Steph. You might be pleased I'm saying that. I don't know. The Leigh fans are like that now. I think Wigan will be smart. I think both sides will be smarting, but Wigan especially will be smarting at the way they let that Saints game slip in the last 10 minutes or so. And I'm going for Wigan by 18 plus, unfortunately. Steph, sorry about that.
Oh, I'm overjoyed with that, Reggie.
I think for me, Latelli coming back will be massive. I think they really missed him last week at Salford. Big game for Robbie Mulhern. This unfortunately, Robbie's having to do a lot of the heavy lifting at the moment, and he's going to be pivotal in this game, I think. And I think Brad Dwyer's got to keep his head as well. Brad at times tries to do it himself. You can't afford to have players trying to win it alone against a team like the Wigan Warriors. So I think Brad Dwyer at hooker has got to play the team game in this one. Lot of expectation on Robbie Mulhern's shoulders in terms of taking it to that Wigan front line, Thompson and co, going into this. But do you know what? They stand a chance early. I mean, they really do. I mean, when you look at it, they've still got quality. The halfbacks are quality. Latelli back in the back line. Hanley, let's be honest, probably the form leader at the moment. I mean, people will be saying, how was he not in the team of the month? Because he didn't play all the games. Had he played all the games, he probably would have been. He didn't play all the games. It's simple as that. But Hanley, outstanding at the moment for Leigh. O'Brien back as well. O'Brien will be playing in this one, Steph. So they've got the team. They have got the team. They certainly won't need any motivation. Battle of the Borough and all that. Over to you, Steph.
It's definitely going to have an impact with those two players for Wigan. It kind of neutralises us not having Amon a little bit. I do still feel like we to beat Wigan, you need to be full strength pretty much. We've not got the biggest squad. Dan Norman's done a job for us, but he's not Tom Amon. And it's a lot of our play last season was built off that our pack was amazing, and we battered teams down the middle, which give the backs the chance to perform. But I think it's like I said on the Final Whistle podcast, I think people are overlooking Leigh's attacker a bit at the moment. And, to score those 4 tries against Salford, they were all really nice on the eye tries. It's not barging over from an inter kind of thing. So the quality is still there, and having Holton coming back and Littell is massive for us in this game. Hopefully we get a better ref than we did in that last season game. But to be fair, the refs have been fine in the last few weeks. We've not really mentioned them. I think they're doing a good job at the moment. So hopefully that continues, because no doubt Leigh will be going all guns blazing to try and prove a point this week.
Yeah. Well, I think, we want the match review panel to take a leaf out of the refs' books and up the game, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, we didn't mention it before, but I think it's time to say goodbye to the MVP. It's time for the rugby league to realise that they're not doing the game any favours.
You can just see Greg with his big placard MVP out at the Etihad Stadium. Go and join him in protest. But anyway, right. So, Steph, where are you going, mate? Where are you going with this one?
It's hard not to look at Wigan in it, but I'm going to go Leigh 1-8 just for comedy factor.
You know what? I love the fact that you've been going against your team against lesser opposition all season, and you come up against the World Club champions. You go, this is the one we'll win. Absolutely outstanding.
I wouldn't be able to walk through Leigh Town Centre if I went against Leigh on this one. So,
whereas I can hold my head up high in Leigh Town Centre, having backed against you.
We're building a statue, Reggie, as we speak for that one, I think.
999 call goes in. There's a man with a bad bat that's just been launched into the back of a boot. Never to be seen again in the Borough League. Outstanding. Right, let's go for it. Gary Schofield, he sees it Wigan 9-17. I see it Wigan 9-17. It's hard not to. Greg's going big, 18 plus. That's big. He could be right, but it's big. Joel going Wigan 9-17. The fans form agree with Greg. They've got 18 plus Wigan as well.
That's us two. Joint battle.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Based on the fact that fans form have only scored 80 points this year, and Greg's great at predicting. Actually, this bodes well for you, actually, Steph.
I need it, because look, I have got above Reggie this week, which we overlooked on the thing there. So that was my big jump this week. So I have been tactical in trying to get some points, but that'll probably backfire on me massively.
Possibly. And Steph there going 1-8. The Leigh Leopards. It should be. Let's hope it's a good game. Like I say, it is a bit of a leveler. I thought Lehman was shocking as well. No, I think he only was on the field for about 5 minutes and he got hooked off. He was Lehman. Wow. I mean, wow. He needs to bounce back from that as well. Looking forward to it though. Thursday night launches round number 7. I think if it was both fully fit, I mean, this would have been out again. You'd be really rubbing your hands. But do you know what? With the narrative, Field's not in form. He's not at the moment. I think you've got enough quality in the centre. It could be interesting. Don't count me out.
Should be a sellout as well, which is phenomenal for a Thursday night game, especially. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, let's hope so. I'm looking forward to it. I'll be tuning in. Right, let's move over to the jungle. Let's get into this one, he says. Oh, where is it? Is it coming?
Yeah,
here we go. Here it comes. Right, so there we go. So we go to the jungle. Castleford Tigers against the Salford Red Devils. No new injury concerns for Castleford. That's good news. Namo 50-50. Probably unlikely to play, though. I think they'll probably give him a shot in the reserves. Thought he was very poor on his debut. Craig Lingard said as such as well. Felt he was a little bit rusty, needed game time. So maybe Namo will turn out for the reserves as opposed to be launched into this one. As for the Red Devils, still no Singleton, Hankinson or Sidlow. Everybody else seems to be in fine fettle. Tigers, of course, not won a game all season. This is interesting. Current league position is the same league position as they were in last year. That's an interesting one. As you can see, Salford did the double last season and at the jungle won 42-10 in round 15. That doesn't bode well for the Castleford Tigers. 1-3 on, 5-2. The Tigers. Players to watch, but it had to be Ryan Briley. He blew Leigh away in that first half. Talk about Evans' first half display. Briley against Leigh was simply outstanding. And Paul McShane, and I think, if Castleford are going to, they've been relying very much on Westerman. McShane is in the same mould for me. Mr. Castleford, he's going to put a big shift in. I think Paul McShane, if they are going to get a win, I think he will be pivotal in that game. So I'll put Paul McShane in there. I think it's a big game for him. Steph, we'll start with you on this one. Castleford against Salford, Friday night. Can Castleford get the first win of the season?
No.
Thanks for playing.
No, Salford. Having seen them this week, live, they're outstanding at the moment, and I don't think there's any fresh injury concerns. They didn't get any bans, did they?
No.
It was quite that was a good thing. But it was quite a well-disciplined game from both sides of the Leigh-Salford match. So them going there full strength pretty much, I can't see anything other than another heavy defeat for Castleford. So I've got an 18 plus, I think, Salford.
You have indeed, Greg. Salford Cass.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Steph. Is this the game that Castleford finally break the hoodoo and win a game? No. They could, and they could take heart from that first half performance against Leeds. I think that's probably the best 40 minutes.
I think the weather in that one was the biggest leveler, weren't it? And
but I think they'll take heart from it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And the weather's not looking great this week either. I just don't think. I think Salford have got too much for them. I'm going 9-17 Salford. I must admit, I'm not going the 18 plus.
You are, yeah.
I'm going 9-17 Salford. I think Castleford will look to kind of match the intensity of that first half against Leeds, but Salford will just have a bit too much for them.
I can't disagree with that. If I'm being honest, I think it's going to be a very interesting game. This one between these two. I think the big concern for me in this one is the fact that fitness as well. We've seen patches from Castleford this season where they've had a bit of Warrington in the first 10 or 15 minutes they had a go. They've had little patches in games, but actually. The fitness levels in that, especially in the second half, that's also got to be a concern for Lingard and co. Schofield, he's gone Salford 9-17 alongside Greg. I have got 18 plus, as has the fans Forum and Joel. We're all expecting a pretty comfortable win in this one for the Salford Red Devils. Hard to not really see. I
think it's interesting, the Rowan Smith comment where he wasn't concerned at half time, and I was watching it the same because I always thought Castleford came out and tried to blow Leeds away, and when you do that, unless you are super fit, it's always going to come and backfire. But I think the other crucial point and the reason why I went 18 plus is because when Salford score, it's 6 points, not 4. It's guaranteed pretty much it's 6 points.
There goes Mark Sneed's chances of the record.
Yeah, but it is though, isn't it? And that's the diff. That it was in the Leigh Salford game. It was 5 tries to 4, but it was 10 points because our goal kicker wasn't anywhere near as good as Sneed. So that's massive to have a consistent kicker.
Steph, I'll tell you now, if he misses a kick this weekend, I'm going to get that little snippet and I'm going to send it to him on social media. Yeah, man. There you go. Let's not forget as well, these two did, of course, meet in round number 2 in a really tight game, 26-22, at the Salford Community Stadium. So that bodes a little bit well for Castleford, but I do think at the moment there's a gulf in form between these two sides. Right, we now go across to Craven Park. Guys, I've not seen anything like this. Look at the odds. That in terms of to winning 90 in